Guys, sometimes you look at certain stock chart and you see tremendous growth, right? For example, you look at Amazon and you will say, oh, if I would have invested early in Amazon in 1999 or 2000, right now I'd be a multimillionaire, or every $5,000 I invested would be worth $1 million now. And you see that with a lot of growth companies, Tesla, all of these companies. You see that, and then after you see that over and over and over again, you just feel like, man, I just missed the boat on, it seems like, everything. But what if there's an opportunity, or what if there was an opportunity that you can still get in to get tremendous growth? Maybe you're a little late to investing and you wish you knew then what you knew now, but we can't go back. But what if there's an opportunity? But what if there's an opportunity for us to take a portion of our portfolio and put it in something that has tremendous potential to grow? Maybe something that we could retire off, right, in a short time. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a regular guy here on YouTube, but I'm just sharing my thoughts here about a potential game changer for your portfolio. Let us jump into my computer. So here we are in my computer. You've seen this chart before. It's basically two semiconductor ETFs, SMH by Van X and SOX. So if you notice, both of them, the top holding is NVIDIA, right? The big semiconductor company. It is 20.8% in SMH and 9.03% in SOX. And not just these two ETFs, but in many of the other semiconductor ETFs, it is the top holding, right? As many of you already know, it's one of either the second or the third largest company by market cap. It's basically the leader in semiconductor. And obviously, the semiconductor is the companies that are creating the computer chip for AI. So since this is the top 10 holdings in the ETF, and obviously you get diversification by having the ETF, what if we just invested in NVIDIA, the top holding? I mean, just put a large portion of money, or whatever you can, in that one stock. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just saying, let's look and let's consider. And the reason why I mentioned this is because NVIDIA's earnings report for the first quarter of 2024 is scheduled to come out on Wednesday, May 22nd. I'm doing this video Monday, May 20th. It is expected to beat earnings, and the stock price is expected probably to go up. But let's take a breath, let's take a pause, and let's look. So this is NVIDIA's chart, right? NVIDIA, ticker symbol NVDA. We think the top holding in many of these semiconductor ETF. And we're considering, what if we just invested directly in NVIDIA? Let's look at the chart. So the year-to-date chart for NVIDIA. NVIDIA is up 91.68%. I mean, it has almost doubled since the beginning of 2024. So if you would have invested in NVIDIA on January 2nd of 2024, this year, you would have paid $481.68 for one share. You fast forward to today, and we see the stock price is not trading at a little under $950, $949.30. So that is almost double, right? And that's why it says here, year to date, they're up about 91%. That's almost double, right? So that means if you had invested $1,000 at the beginning of the year, it would be valued now at $2,000. Whatever you invested would have been double. If you'd invested $10,000, now it would have been worth about $20,000. If you'd invested $100,000, right now it would have been worth about 200,000. That is amazing because it's only been about 5 months, right? Almost about 5 months, and it has doubled. That is tremendous growth. Let's look at the 1 year chart. The 1 year chart for NVIDIA is over 200%. It has more than tripled. If you didn't, if you would have bought NVIDIA on May 18th, 2023, a year ago, you'd have paid $316 per share. And you fast forward a year later, you paid about $949. That's more than triple. Now you may be getting curious. Tripled in a year. Yes. Yes. Tripled in 1 year. So that means if you had the ability to put your retirement savings in this a year ago, it would be now worth 3 times. You had 100,000, right now it'd be worth 300,000. You had 500,000, now it would be worth $1.5 million. So you see, this is tremendous growth, and it all happened in a very short time period, 1 year. Let's look at the 10-year chart. The 10-year chart of NVIDIA. If you had bought NVIDIA, the 10-year chart of NVIDIA, you see it's up over 20,000%. Let's see what this means. If you would have bought NVIDIA May 19th, 2014, you'd have paid $4.62 per share. Amazing, right? You'd have paid $4.62 per share, and now it's almost $1,000. Let's look at the calculator. We're gonna look at $949. We'll just make it $950. It's easier. $950 divided by $4.62. It's about 205, which means for every dollar you invested 10 years ago, it now would be worth $205. So let's average it and make. So let's round it off to make it 200. Whatever you invested would be worth 200x. If you would have invested $5,000 in 2014 into NVIDIA, right now it would be worth about $1 million. So every $5,000 invested in NVIDIA 10 years ago would be worth $1 million. If you invested $10,000 in NVIDIA 10 years ago, it would be worth $2 million. Every $5,000 would be worth $1 million. So we see stuff growth like this in Amazon in time past, and we said, okay, that growth is over. But this is still growing. In 1 year, it has tripled. In the last 4 months, year to date, it had almost doubled. So it is still growing. We missed the Amazon opportunity. We missed Tesla and all those, but this is still growing. We're at the beginning of this AI boom. So this made me think, yes, it's great to be diversified, and you want to be diversified to mitigate your risk. Can't have all your eggs in one basket, all of that. But sometimes you have to take a chance, to take a risk. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what portion, but a portion of your portfolio can sometimes be put into something. And I wouldn't even say this is like really speculative. I mean, it's a company that is driving AI, it's the leading. It is the leader in artificial intelligence. It's the leader in it is the leader in the semiconductor space. So I wouldn't say it's really speculating. It's not like a startup. It's the leader in the semiconductor space. So why should not we benefit? We do benefit from exposure in the semiconductor ETF, but we'll benefit more by investing directly in it. So something for you to consider. So we see this tremendous growth in NVIDIA, right? Almost 91% growth year to date, 20,000% return over the last 10 years. But it said your NVIDIA's corporation annualized return over the past 10 years, right? If you would have averaged it out and make it the same. NVIDIA's corporation's annualized return over the past 10 years is 71.09%, which is higher than the S&P 500 benchmark of 10.99%. That is awesome return. It breaks, right? It destroys the S&P 500 return. 71% annualized over the last 10 years. I saw again, this is the NVIDIA stock chart, and you said it was like very low for a little while, for a long time. But then it basically 2019, 2020, it started going up. If you'd have bought NVIDIA in 2020, right? About the time of the COVID occurrence, you'd have bought it for about $51. Right? March 16th, 2020, it was trading for $51. Right? And now it's almost $1,000. So it'd be about almost 20x. So whatever you would have invested in March of 2020, right now would be worth 20 times. Right? So if you had invested $50,000, right now it'd be worth $1 million. If you'd invested $100,000, it'd be worth $2 million. So let's look at the chart. So the 52-week range has been the low of $298, about $300, and now the high has been about $974. So obviously, it's at its high. It's kind of a high time to, you're buying kind of at the peak. But if it gets higher, you might have wished you would have bought it now. Earnings per share, forward earnings per share is predicted to be $25.32. The PE ratio, or forward PE ratio, $36.53. So you're paying $36 for every $1 of earnings, but it's grown so much. It's a $2.27 trillion market cap. This is why this opportunity is timely. You see here, and you see here, NVIDIA's upcoming quarter's earnings, right? This is the Q1 quarter, the Q1 2024 earnings. That report will be coming out on May 22nd. Today is May 20th. So that's in 2 days. And lots of analysts are expecting them to beat the estimate. And then they're anticipating the stock price is going to go up. So yes, it is $950 a share, but some brokers allow you to buy partial shares. Okay? So remember that 10-year annualized return of 71, what was it, 71%? Let's go back. The 10-year annualized return was 71.09%. So we'll use 71%. Let's go to our compound calculator. So deposit of $1,000, no monthly contribution. Estimated return, please enter a number between 0 and 50. It wouldn't even let us put it in because it's so high. So we're not going to be able to see what. But let's see if I can use another one. Okay, so this one won't let me do it because the return is too high, which is crazy, right? But I have another one here on my phone where it shows $1,000 one-time sum, 71% return annualized, over 10-year period, with no additional monthly contribution. You would end up with $990,000. Unbelievable. You'd be worth your portfolio, your $1,000 would turn into about $1 million after 10 years without you adding anything else, with a tremendous return. Now, so it is not letting us do the 71% return, which, let's try to find another compound annual calculator. Okay, this one is from Edward Jones. Okay, so let's see if this works. Initial investment, we're going to put $1,000. Rate of return, this limits you to 12%. Okay, all right, so we can't use that. Okay, let's do this. Let's do $1,000 a month. We'll do 10 years. We'll do 50%. We'll do 50%. So if you put $1,000 in there, you add nothing else. After 10 years, if you get a 10% return, you have about 134,000. And then what we'll do, we'll just do it again, and then we'll do 20% return, and then we'll add them together. 134,000, and then another 30. So you'd have about $140,000, right? With a 70% return, you'd have about $140,000. Okay? Just do nothing. Imagine if you'd put $10,000 into NVIDIA 10 years ago. Let's do $10,000. And then we'll do 50%. So you'd have, so imagine if you had put $10,000 into NVIDIA 10 years ago. $10,000. With a 50% return, after 10 years, we'd have $1.3 million. But there's more, because we got a 70% return. So now we got to keep in mind that 1,341,000, and then we got to do another 20% return, right? Because this limits us 20% return. We'd have another 72,000. So 1,340,000. You have about maybe $1.4 million. So $10,000 into NVIDIA 10 years ago. Let it sit with a 70% return. Annualized, you'd end up with about $1.4 million. That's enough for many people to retire on. Right? Imagine if you would have done more. So with the return of 71% annualized, let's do some monthly contributions. Okay? I'm gonna leave the 50%, right? Because even though we know it annualized as high as 70, let's do initial deposit 0. And we'll do $100 a month. $100 a month, and you're contributing monthly. After 10 years, with a 50% return, you'd have about $319,000. Of course, you know that we can have more because it's actually the annualized return is 70%. So we're gonna have probably another, maybe another 50% more. So 319, 50% of that is gonna be about 150. So you are probably gonna have maybe another 150,000, right? Probably about $450,000, $500,000 in 10 years. What if you're able to do $200? $200 a month. With that return, you get about $638,000, and then you add about another 50%. Right? So at this point now, you're going to be at probably about $900,000. $500 a month. With that return in 10 years, you're going to have about $1.6 million. Then you're going to add probably another 50% to that. So you're going to have now, that's going to be another 700 grand. So you're probably going to be about $2.3 million. Let's do $1,000 a month. In 5 years, $1,000 a month, with that return, you have about $3 million. And then you have another maybe 50% added to it. So maybe another 1.5 million. So you're probably going to end up with another almost $5 million. So I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just showing you that because of the tremendous growth going on with this company, and because of the time frame in which we're in right now, and because of the earnings report that's about to come out in 2 days, And because this is the number one holding of many of the top semiconductor ETF. If we were to invest in it directly, the, the opportunity for tremendous growth would be similar to Amazon in the late 90s and early 2000s. If you have made a lot of financial mistakes before, this may be an opportunity for you to kind of make up for it. Again, guys, tremendous opportunity here. I know the stock price is high, but lots of brokerage allow you to do fractional shares, right? So you can buy fractional shares. And this company is not going anywhere. So, it is at the top of the 52-week range, but you see how tremendous the growth has been. Year to date, almost doubled. In the last year, it has tripled. What's going to happen in the next 6 months, in the next year? So, what do we say and what do we do? Well, we say this is a tremendous growth company. You've seen the evidence. Year to date, it has almost doubled from $486 to now almost $1,000 a share. 1 year chart, it has tripled from like $316 to almost $1,000. Last 10 years, you've seen the growth 205x in the last decade, where every $5,000 became over $1 million. We are 2 days away from the earnings report, and most of the analysts are predicting that they're going to beat Wall Street expectations, and the stock price is probably going to go up. We know we're at the peak of the 52-week range, but if it goes higher, we may wish we would have bought before earnings. So I've missed lots of opportunities, Amazon and many other companies. But even though it has been tremendous growth, I believe this company is at the forefront of AI and semiconductor, and it's going to drive tremendous wealth. And I want to be a part of it. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of missing the boat. I want to beat the S&P 500. Keep a portion of your money in the S&P 500, right? We preach all that. We preach about ETF diversification, right? We did lots of videos on semiconductor ETF where you still get exposure to NVIDIA. But if we are 100% exposed to NVIDIA, of course, the risk is greater because it's single. Now you have to deal with single stock risk. However, there's also potential for tremendous gain. Okay, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, this may change everything. So, not a financial advisor, but I'm just telling you, I'm going to make a move on this, and do your own due diligence, listen, and speak to your financial advisor, and do whatever you think is best for you. MD Invested with another video to increase our financial IQ so we can teach our children and break the cycle of generational poverty. MD Investor out.